This is Arts Weekly.
Arts Weekly is a production of the College of Visual and Performing Arts at IPFW, offering degrees in fine arts, music, theater, and visual communication and design. IPFW, the energy of arts.
Welcome back to Arts Weekly. You are listening to the music of my next guest, Chris Rutkowski, who heads the new IPFW Sweetwater Music Technology Program. Chris, good to have you on the show.
Oh, my pleasure.
Now, tell us a little bit about this new program, a partnership between IPFW and Sweetwater Sound here in Fort Wayne in music technology. What do students learn, or what are students going to learn in the program?
Right. Well, there's just so much that music technology has become. Part of the problem is editing that down to something specific, and there's some big kind of unifying themes, and one of these is the digital audio workstation. In our case, it's a Pro Tools system, and that just contains so many different technologies within it. It has a notation embedded in it. It's the audio recording. You can compose using virtual instruments. You can use it as a video editor. So we'll kind of use the DAW as the central kind of technology, and then the students will be, they can specialize on things of their particular interests. If they want to do something like film scoring, if they want to do work as a recording engineer, if they're like me, a composer who wants to use the DAW as a composition tool, as a copying tool, as an orchestration tool, and then there's just a whole bunch of other kind of subfields that if they want to learn about electrical engineering to be to design microphones or something like this.
Wow, it's really, really expansive.
Yes.
But the main thing is that students will learn how to compose music, obviously, using these digital audio workstations right on a personal computer, a Macintosh, or what have you.
Absolutely.
And also recording.
Right.
But my question is, to what extent has music composition changed in the last 10, 25, 100 years from when Beethoven was composing? How is it done now as compared to then?
The first kind of nail in the coffin of new technology for composers was the computer typesetting programs, engraving. So in other words, your music, instead of writing pencil and paper, well, people still use pencil and paper, but the copying, you'd send it to an engraver, and he would do the whole kind of thing with, pressing it onto paper. But now we can do professional typesetting on the computer, which led to a whole bunch of really cool things that, you can make changes. I mean, in the old days, you had to kind of make a whole new plate. But nowadays, what you can do is, you just decide you want to take out this whole section, and you take it out, and you print out a new copy, and it's always first generation. So you can make changes very, very quickly. So for example, I mean, I do this all the time in my scores, is that after the first performance, I'll decide that was too long. I'll take out a few bits here and there. In my last piece, I took 2 minutes of a movement, and I thought, less is more. It worked out much better. And I always have a first generation score.
And you can also add trombones here,
Absolutely.
or more guitars there.
Absolutely.
It seems like it's much more interactive now. I mean, again, getting back to Beethoven, he had his piano, and he had to imagine how the orchestra sounded.
Well, he
I'm
heard
sure he's
it.
a genius, and he could, of course.
Yeah.
But you actually, in the computer, you can hear all the instruments. What is a virtual instrument library?
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about that.
Right. So virtual instrument library, I mean, there's a whole bunch of different kinds of technology that you can do. You can synthesize it. Typically, you'll be using samples, like recordings of existing instruments. So one that we use here is the Vienna Symphonic Library, which is meticulously sampled.
Means pre-recorded versions of certain instruments.
Right, and so they're mapped to certain notes and certain articulations for spiccato and pizzicato and this kind of thing. And Yeah, so you'll just, you either play it on a keyboard or you can do it in the computer. Again, going back to the DAW, you have like a piano roll and you can draw notes in.
And you're playing it all on a little keyboard. I mean, I saw you work in the studio, here, the recording studio here at IPFW,
Right.
and you're actually playing an
Yes.
electronic keyboard, and
Yes.
you know, it's just like looks like a piano or
Yes.
something. But you know, coming out of the speakers
Yes.
is a symphony.
Yes.
And then what I think one of the amazing things that I saw was that actually going up onto the computer screen as you were playing were the notes.
Yes.
That actually written out like
Yes.
a score.
Yes.
I mean, that is a huge difference
Yes.
from when,
Yeah.
they would have to stop and write
I know,
and pencil
I
it
know,
in.
I know. You know, actually, interestingly enough, pencil and paper is maybe the fastest software, because then, the computer will make a lot of decisions for you. For example, if you're playing live and your timing isn't right, which almost all of us can't play exactly in time, and the computer will say, well, instead of that being a quarter note, it's going to be a 96th anticipation note, and it looks really, really messy because you get all these rests and that kind of thing. So it's not a perfect world. You still have to get in there and edit it and this kind of thing.
And it seems like you also still need to know how to play music. I mean,
Absolutely.
I mean, here at IPFW, we
Yes.
still require our students to play an instrument,
Right.
read music.
Right.
And why is that, though? I mean,
Why?
in the era
Yeah,
of garage
sure.
band and everything else, do
Right.
they have to have that level of rigorous training?
Well, if you want to just stick to the presets, then you can just choose the presets, and it's really easy.
What the
okay?
computer gives you.
They have like loops for these wonderful these drum patterns, and they're very useful. But if you really want to, to get deeply inside, you want to get past the presets. If you were like work with like Microsoft Word and you're doing an outline, I don't know if this happens to you, but it drives me nuts because it always kind of formatted for me.
Yeah, I don't know how to use Microsoft Word. It
Yeah.
just seems to have a mind of its own.
Well, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
like
I
it
do.
kind of, and then if you
That's what it wants to do.
It's very difficult to change it. You have to get really deeply into the weeds, So the thing about, we have so many possibilities. We have infinite possibilities. And, I have a kind of way that I express this that, artists can face the void. They can face infinity.
Yeah.
And that's what you're talking about. You're
It's a
talking
white
about
piece of paper.
the blank sheet.
Yeah,
okay?
exactly.
And so if you're looking for a list of procedures, if you're looking for the textbook of how to write a piece of music, how to play an instrument, whatever, you're never going to play it because
Right.
there's so many choices that you have to make.
That's
okay?
true.
But so if, for example, you want to use the computer to compose a film score or whatever, then you need to be able to sit down on an empty page and pencil and paper and face the void.
And be creative.
And be
a computer
creative.
can't be creative for you.
Absolutely.
That's where you need to practice and have training
Right.
and have a mind and a critical
Right.
thinking and good thinking skills.
Yeah.